Assalamualaikum. I will be representing Group 1 to give a talk about our group project. In this presentation, I will talk about two things. The first part will be how a data travel from a sender to receiver. And the second part would be on what me and my group gained throughout this project being executed. So first of all, let me talk about how a data travel from a sender to a receiver. I will explain this using the Open System Interconnection Layer, or OSI model in short. So an OSI layer contains 7 layers, and to start sending a data, it will have to start with layer 7, which is called the application layer. In application layer, our load creates the data that we wrote and the addresses. It will be sent using either HTTP or HTTPS for web surfing. Next, on layer 6, we have the presentation layer. The data that we are sending will be formatted in a way that the receiving device would understand. In our project example, the data will be converted into binary numbers, or we call it ASCII. In this layer, it will also encrypt the data if required. Layer 5 is called the session layer. So the main function of a session layer is to synchronize the sender and the receiver. Layer 4 is called the transport layer. In this layer, it will decide on which protocol, either TCP or UDP, it should use in order to send the data from sender to receiver. In this example, we will be using TCP mainly because TCP is more reliable because it ensures that all segments of the data sent are received and any lost segments are retransmitted. Next will be the layer 3, or we would call it network layer. The network layer handles the IP addressing and routing. At this OSI model layer, the source and destination of IP address are added into the data as the header. The header defines the logical address of the sender and receiver. Layer 2 is called the data link layer. The main function of this data link layer is to perform error detection and combine bits into frame. It combines the raw data into bytes and bytes into frames so that the data packets can be transmitted to network layer of the desired destination. Layer 1 is called the physical layer. This layer acts as some sort of physical connection, like subway rail for a train, but in our example, it is for packets of data to travel through. When the data reach the receiver side, the receiving device will process the data in the same way as the sender, but it is in reverse order. So on the second part of this presentation, I will talk about the gains of what we experienced as a group throughout the execution of this project. We learned a lot from this project. Every group member has done their part in completing the project within the time given. As an example, every group member has now fully understand about application of OSI layer and its function in real life. Second, our knowledge about FLSM has increased as we now know how to do the subnetting calculation for it. From this project, all the group members also learn how to configure the IP address manually in Windows by changing dynamic IP address to static IP address. Next, from this project, we gain new knowledge on creating web page or blog as we need to present our project result on a web page. Lastly, I would like to highlight that it is not easy to use online and distance learning or on UDL, but under these circumstances, we managed to pull through together as a group to work on this project until it is settled. So the biggest part of the gains throughout this project would be teamwork. Thus, all the experience we gain by doing this project is useful, and I hope we can use it in our future jobs.